Hi, I'm Jake Litecky. I'm the defensive coordinator at Mayville State.
I'm Rocky Larson, head football coach.
And I'm Coach Smethers, the offensive coordinator.
All right, Coach. So coming off last year, what has been your focus going into preseason camp this year to prepare you for this upcoming season?
Yeah, I think coming off a 3-8 season for us, where we won 3 in a row and then lost some one-possession games down the stretch, it was a big dive into the data and try to figure out exactly who we need to become. And special teams is one of the areas that I really, when you look at it, we got to be better in the special teams game. We got to be able to return the football better. We got to be able to kick the ball better. We got to be able to cover. So as we've gotten going in fall camp here, we've taken a big step and continuing to improve that, and we'll continue to work on the special teams game. And then, you know, a big thing that we've talked about is in one possession games, how can we find a way to close one possession games, and how can we put ourselves in position to close those games out. And a lot of it is mental training and helping our kids and doing some different reads and talking about, it's okay to talk about the 3-8 season, and you know, that's a big season for Mayville State at the time, and it's something we can build off of. And obviously with a lot of returns on both sides of the football, I'm really excited to see what this group can do, and it's been a fun fall camp so far. So I don't know if you got anything else to add to that, Coach Smethers?
Yeah, I think kind of piggyback off what he said, you know, offensively trying to close out some of those games, we got to find a way to run the ball a little bit better. Last year we were, you know, a little more explosive throwing the football, but trying to find ways to, you know, be a little less one-dimensional, be a little more two-dimensional is kind of what we're emphasizing here as we get into camp.
And defensively, we changed some things schematically I'm excited about to help us, you know, in the run game, stopping the run, and ultimately just staying focused on the process and not the outcomes. And
I think that's a big thing to talk about is what I've been really proud of in fall camp is I think we've run the football as we try to get closer to 50-50 around the football. It's been really good for our defense because they've been able to see the run game and be able to stop the run game where at times we struggled last year. So we've complemented each other very well on both sides of football, and it's been really fun to watch.
Who are your notable returners, and how will they contribute this upcoming football season?
Yeah, I think I'll start with a specialist. You know, we talk about putting a big emphasis on special teams. Braden Lacombe coming in kicking for us. I don't think he missed an extra point for us last year, kicking off to the goal line, doing some really good things in the special teams game with us. Bo Jorgensen, short snapper, a guy that often gets overlooked. If you don't have that guy, you understand. He's done a great job snapping for us here in fall camp. And I'll hit one on each side of the football. I would say Bailey Mullenberg has had an incredible camp. He's up to 250 pounds. He's done some really good things. I know we're on defensive side moving him around a little bit. And then Tim Salmon, returning All-American junior quarterback, honorable mention. He's only gotten better, and we're really excited to see what he can do. So I'm sure I'm missing some, but maybe you want to talk a little bit about the defensive side?
Yeah, defensively, I'm excited about, you know, almost our entire back half. A lot of our DBs are back. Will Flemings, Denzel Navy, Jordan Richardson, Caden Johnson, a lot of good players that really worked hard this summer in the front half. A couple nose tackles back. Jared Gay, Meach. We've got some good players kind of all across the board, and we're super fortunate to have, you know, nearly every starter we had last year back. So I'm very excited about this season.
And I think too, you missed that I think have had a great fall camp would be Devin Woods and Gunnar Jorgensen. Absolutely. Up front. They've done a great job defending the run and giving us a little bigger bodies up there that can defend the run. So
yeah, I think offensively, kind of similar to what Coach Litecky talked about, is we have a lot of guys coming back. So we had 4 guys up front returning, and Zach Caesar, Xavier Powers, Garrett Jamison, and Joe Nelson. And then the back half, we've got you know, Derek Frederick is coming back for us, and Mason Ullman, and then receiving core with Eli Roundtree and Malik Flowers. We just have a lot of returning players that complement each other well that we're excited about.
And I think we'd be the linebacking core we kind of skipped over there, but Richie Shelton, a guy who played a lot of meaningful minutes for us last year and played a lot of snaps, and Anthony Johnson. That's a good group of linebackers we're really excited to watch. So yeah, when you're returning a lot and you have this extra COVID here, it makes a lot of these guys a lot more name known around the community, and especially with retention rates better. A lot of these kids are sticking around and graduating, so it's a really exciting time around Mayville State football.
How have you filled the holes on the roster with guys graduating from the program last year?
Yeah, so I think if you look at who we graduated last year, you know, Logan Hoff, Josiah Walker, Cole Dukart, Josh Portillo, Stanley. We filled those guys with guys who have been in the program already, and they've just grown up, and it's now their chance to take take the reins and start at nose guard for us. And we went outside to find a quarterback in Edward Norton, who I'm sure we'll talk about here a little later, but can kind of come in and do some different things for us in that role. But a guy like at nose guard, Jared Gay, who's been in the program 3 years, he's been behind Stanley. Now it's his turn to kind of step up and take the reins and grow. And where we filled roles is with a lot of freshmen, right? If you have guys who step up and elevate into starting roles, now it's our job to backfill that with some freshmen who can come in and compete, and they can get part of the cycle. And I think that's one thing I'm most proud of being the head football coach here is when we took over and you had 28 kids on our roster, if you could stand up straight and run, you could play for us. And that's no disrespect to any of those guys, but we just didn't have the numbers in place that we could have an ecosystem of kids growing up and maturing and then being able to have some depth. So where we really needed to fill in, and I think it's a big testament to our staff, is we filled in our depth, our needs, and that's a big thing when you're talking special teams because a lot of those guys play special teams for us. I'm really proud of our retention. I'm proud of how hard we've worked in the offseason, and we've developed into having an older football team because of our retention.
Who are your notable new players and how will they impact the team this upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, when you sign a class of over 50 people, we can't sit here and go through every one of them, but I do want to highlight a few guys who've had a good camp that will be doing different stuff for us on Saturdays. The first one that really pops in my mind is Devin. Devin's a transfer center from Jamestown. He came last spring. Great kid, big kid. He's going to be a staple in that offensive line. Does a lot for us. The second kid I want to talk about would be Trey Holmes, middle linebacker. He came to us last spring also. He's had a good fall camp. He's made a lot of big steps for us. Those two guys who have been around the program a little bit, but they'll be new on Saturdays. And then the third one I think who we're really excited about is Kelby Azure he's from Mayville here. Went to Hatton Northwood, but we're really excited to get him transferred from NDSU. Big tight end body that can be really physical in the run game, and Coach Smethers has already touched on it. We want to be great running the football, and that's a big emphasis we did this year. And we had to go out and find a tight end who believed in the same philosophies we do. And when I got to know Kelby and got to know the family, he became an instant fit for what we're trying to do from our culture standpoint and on the offensive side of the football. So I'll let these guys talk a little more about each side of the football. I'm sure they have a few names they want to talk about.
Yeah, I can go ahead and go first here. I think offensively to go along with Devin and Kelby, we've got some other guys. Coach already alluded to Edward Norton, who's a receiver from junior college out in California. He's played a lot of football, so he's someone that's got the experience coming in at the quarterback position to kind of fill that room out a little bit. Javante Clayton, also a transfer wide receiver. That fits the need for us, a long, lanky, speedy wide receiver who's fit that room perfectly. And you have other guys like a couple freshmen like Daniel Neville from Las Vegas, Nevada, plays running back for us. He's had a really, really good camp. He's a great kid, just works really, really hard. And then another local kid, Zyler Carlson, who's from right down the road in Findlay. He's had a really good camp. He understands the offense inside and out already, and we're really excited for their futures.
Yeah, defensively, I think A.J. Archambault is a guy that needs to be touched on. He's a transfer from Presentation College. He adds a great layer of depth to our defensive end. He's had an excellent camp. Marcellus Moore, a true freshman from Las Vegas, Nevada, has had a great camp at DB, man. He's great in man coverage. He's great in zone, very locked in for a freshman. And Jeremiah Latu, nose tackle out of Arizona. Big physical, can slip gaps, can also two-gap. He's had a fantastic camp, very locked in as well.
And I think Coach Smethers, I think he misspoke there, but Edward Norton's quarterback, he's a kid that's going to be doing a lot of different stuff for us and getting on the field, so we're excited to have him.
What are some of the key strengths the team has going into the 2023 season?
I think the first thing is this team feels really together to me. They do everything together. Normally, for guys who have played here in the past or coached here in the past, by day 3 or day 4, I'm yelling at them to sit with someone different at a different table and sit with. I haven't had to do any of that. I barely had to raise my voice with this group so far, and they've been really good at responding. They've been really good at taking care of each other. They've been really good at loving each other outside of our walls. And that's one thing you always worry about as a football coach is who are they when they're not in between the walls? And I'm really proud of how this group has come together in a short amount of time. And obviously there's still a lot of time to continue to grow and continue to work on that culture. But that's the one thing I'm really looking forward to. I think, obviously, on both sides of the football, we return a lot. So this fall camp has been a much different experience than previous fall camps in the fact that we don't have to try to figure out who can play. We got a pretty good handle who can play. We've got guys, Zach Caesar, a guy I know Coach Smethers touched on. I believe he's in line to break our start record as long as everything goes right. I mean, he started 43 games for us, which is unheard of at a small college level. And if he stays healthy, he's got a chance to break the all-time start record. We got Tim Salmon, who has a chance to break the all-time passing record, all-time touchdown record. So we have pieces in place on both sides of the football, and I'm really looking forward to watching those groups continue to grow. But it's been such a different fall camp around here than the last couple, with the fact that, you look at our first fall camp during COVID there, we were trying to evaluate who was who. We had 50 freshmen. We were playing a lot of freshmen. That second year, we didn't have the great retention number, so it was a fresh start all over. Where this fall camp has been more refining our skills than a skill evaluation. I think I'm different in this sense also, is I like being able to go on the road the first 3 weeks and get away and find out who we really are. I think at times when you're playing at home early in the year, it gets lost and everything's okay and you have everyone on the side. When you get away from campus, you can really build and continue to buy in and continue to build that culture. And again, I've said it from the top, and everything we do, we're going to be great in special teams. And that's something that as we continue to build and we continue to go about it, we have to continue to strive to be great in that area.
Yeah, I think offensively it's continuity, kind of like Coach Larson talked about. A lot of people coming back, just having the same group of guys that know what the person next to them is going to do and trust what the person next to them is going to do is a big part of what we've got going on here. And I think the other thing is we've got a bunch of guys that are not worried about individual accolades. I think, more than ever now, we are results-oriented as a team. We are one unit on the offense side, one unit on the defense side, but at the same time, we're one team. And how can we be, focusing on, getting W's rather than touchdowns or my own individual stats or things like that?
Yeah, defensively, it's just a ton of experience. We got guys coming back that have played in a lot of games and have a deeper and better understanding for the game of football from top to bottom. So I'm excited to just put that experience on display.
And I think I'd be wrong not to say it. It's rare in college football to have the same staff year after year after year. And obviously we lose Coach Harkness there, but bringing in Scott Olson, being able to keep two coordinators in place, being able to keep Tim Martin, Nick Fleslin, Michael Cook, and elevating Michael Cook to pass game coordinator and giving him the recognition he's deserved for being such a great football coach and being a big part of what we're doing. I know Coach Litecky hit on Scott Olson, having a local guy who can come in and really get with that defense line and help us in recruiting Kyle, being able to help with that offensive line. So we're excited to be able to add Josiah Walker to our staff. Josiah, a lot of Comet fans know who he is. He's been a great player on the defense side of football. He's done a great job with the running back room and being able to develop those young running backs. And this is the first time we've ever really had student coaches. We got Connor Fields, we got Thomas Enerson, and we got Andrew Ropes. We got guys who care about this place, who deeply love this place, that want to see us be successful. And I'm very fortunate as a head football coach to have so many people on our staff that I can trust and believe in what we're doing.